Case number 1. A young single woman in her early 20s is complaining of chronic constipation with occasional bouts of severe cramping and diarrhea. She has frequent bouts of depression and is experiencing weight gain issues. She confides that she remembers that, as a little girl, her parents constantly fought. While they screamed at each other, she would hide in her room away from the conflict. She would have knots in her stomach as she ate her meals with her parents in a very uncomfortable silence. As she got older, she learned to keep her anger and fears bottled up. At work, she eats on the run. She is a party girl and gets very little sleep. She uses birth control to regulate her cycles. Can you relate to some of this? Case number 2. A young single woman in her mid-20s complains of fatigue, especially after eating lunch. She has severe PMS and mood swings. She has lower back issues that worsen during times of stress. She relates that her periods began when she was 15, but stopped at 17 when she became an anorexic. She went off to college weighing 86 pounds and returned 4 years later, no longer anorexic, but weighing 170 pounds with an uncontrollable sweet tooth. Her father was a type 2 diabetic. Returning to previous ways, she discovers that she could control her weight, binging and then purging using well-timed laxatives. This goes on until she starts having grand mal seizures due to severe hypoglycemic episodes. She finally did get her act together and changed her eating habits. She, too, had a very stressful, dysfunctional childhood and currently uses birth control pills. In this story, are there any echoes of your past? Case number 3. A 35-year-old woman complains of major depression, mood swings, and loss of sex drive. She works very long hours, 6 days each week. She confides that she is recently married for the first time and is finding it difficult to adjust to living with and being obligated to another person. She has always lived alone and never realized just how messed up she might be. Dysfunctional childhood and emotional self-sufficiency are also part of her history. Further, she relates that she feels compelled to take on everyone's issues and care for them, consuming herself with their needs and often ignoring her own. Birth control pills now make her psychotic, even though she used them in the past without issue. So how many of you are rescuers and put all your needs last? Case number 4. A 41-year-old married woman presents with obvious signs of emotional distress. She complains of profound depression and suicidal thoughts. She has zero sex drive and wants to sleep all the time. She was no longer able to function at her business, so she closed the doors. She confides that at age 35, her menstrual cycles became irregular and thought she was in the throes of perimenopause. She worked long hours and is under constant stress. Much to her and her husband's surprise, she got pregnant. She was scared, but sailed through her first and second trimesters healthily. However, even though by all reasonable standards she was taking good care of herself, at month 7 things changed. Her hair started to fall out and her mood swings became unbearable. Her OB/GYN suggested she start drinking wine to calm her nerves. Her daughter was born after 15 hours of induced labor. 24 hours later, she was home with her baby, sleep-deprived, and physically exhausted. Her family is able to provide her little help. She sank into a deep, dark depression. Upon consulting with and seeking help from her good old OB/GYN, he never looked up from his writing to see the tears on her face. When he finally did ask how she found motherhood, she told him straight out that she was suicidal. He offered to put her on drug therapy. Bless his heart. No need to consider if you identify with this last case, because I can tell you that I identify with it 100%. You see, this last case was mine. Yes, my friends, I snapped. No, I never did attempt to kill myself. I chose to bug out rather than check out. I took my daughter and ran away to a getaway cabin in the mountains. I left my home, my husband, my practice, my friends, and my family, and little did anyone know that I had no intention of ever returning. Was I a rational human being? No, I wasn't. And I was not at all prepared for the roller coaster ride that hormones took me on. But it was in this irrational, almost psychotic frame of mind that I chose to sort this whole thing out by myself. When I first discovered some new advances in metabolic testing and took a saliva test, it revealed that I had nearly non-existent estrogen and testosterone and very low progesterone. We'll discuss how these hormones affect us in greater detail later. My adrenal glands, the fight or flight glands, were burned out from stress, constant stress, going all the way back to the traumatic childhood experience of living in a home filled with anger. The hormone imbalance I spoke about earlier is a type that destroys lives and families. It did a job on mine, alienating me from my sister for many years, and of course, I'm divorced. But I had the advantage of my education and training. Seeing through my delirium, I managed to find answers, solutions to the problems, and damn it, they were simple solutions. This is the reason I feel the need to pass on what I've learned to you, to provide you with the facts that stress, no matter how long ago, may still be affecting you. Birth control pills intended to enhance your love life can destroy it. Diet, nutrition, lifestyle, and your environment play with your biochemistry. Inherited traits, predispositions, all of these can set you up for hormonal imbalances. I want to help you to find the real fountain of youth. This is my mission.